everyone. Welcome to a new Let's Play with me, your host, Tim. And today, we're going to play through Aeon of the Sands, the trail together. There will be a little bit of prep here that you can skip by going to the slider up here on YouTube on the video and adjusting it past this prep in case you don't care to listen to what Aeon of the Sands is, like what type of game it is, how far I got in it, assuming I played it before, why we're playing it, and any special stuff Tim's going to do as we play this game together. Aeon of the Sands is a first-person, dungeon-crawling, party-based role-playing game. It would be similar to the Eye of the Beholder series or the Legend of Grimrock. However, not all aspects of this game will take place in dungeons, as during which we'll be crawling around, fighting monsters, finding treasure, slamming our face against walls to see if they're illusionary walls, and pressing all sorts of secret buttons that are all over the place. The game also has an aspect to it which reminds me of the old Darklands games. Some of the locations that we will visit will present us with different dialogue options, and choosing those will lead us to other potential outcomes. Not every city that we visit, for example, will be displayed to us in a three-dimensional world for us to adventure through. Instead, we will be given descriptions of locations as the background changes to match the things that we are being told about. I have played this game now for about 30-something hours. I've gotten to the end dungeon with two different groups, as it were, and I found myself liking the game enough that I thought it would be fun to record it for my channel. This is both good and bad. It's bad only so much that I have made so many mistakes. Some of these dialogue trees, navigating them, that I won't make the mistakes I made prior. So, it's very difficult to get some companions to join our hero, given that you need very specific answers to some of the questions that are asked, some of the problems that are posed to you, and sometimes some are blocked off from you for other reasons that I would not normally have expected. We'll talk more about companions when we have the option to get a few of them in our group, which won't happen for the first video, at the very least. It's good because I have done a bit of exploring on a few of the dungeons, and I've actually made a few maps. Yes, I broke out the graph paper and made a few maps for them too. I also have some save files of these maps to help me figure out where all the secret buttons are, because it can take a bit of time to find these buttons. And as such, you won't have to worry about me running around looking for them, because I know where they are in a few of these locations. Why we are playing this game is because I was looking for other games that played like Eye of the Beholder or Legend of Grimrock, and had picked up quite a few of them on Steam to see if they would fit the bill. In particular, that bill was the payment for my viewership and some of my commenters, because I wanted to have several different games being played where people could say that they wanted to be a member or a character in that game. Unfortunately, Aeon of the Sands does not give you the option to create characters. Instead, it follows a very specific story, that of a particular very lazy clerk who we will meet very soon when we hit New Game. But we can't make characters from scratch, and on that note, the companions we find are also particular companions. So this is more like Planescape Torment than, say, Bard's Tale 4. We don't have the option to create anyone, to my knowledge. We find them instead. Still, I think it's a good game, and I wanted to play it on my channel, so hopefully you guys won't mind disgracing the channel for a little bit. For the special rules, there's a lot of text in this game. I'll be reading all of it. I also really enjoy reading item descriptions. Like Dark Souls, some portion of this game's world is detailed via the item descriptions, and some of it also isn't at all. So this brings me to a bit of a, I don't really know what the phrase is, everyone, because I don't want, how to say this. The writing in this game is rather unique. I've never encountered a game that displays it in this particular way before. Some of it's going to read very much like poetry, and the descriptions can be amazing. Other times, there's quite a bit of humor in it, where the dungeon master or narrator isn't being serious, and sometimes makes up stuff on the fly. And your answers are like, what the heck did you just say? I don't understand a word that you're saying. Like, that's the answer you choose. And the response from the narrator is, I don't know either. So it's very odd how it's been written. And at first, I didn't like it. But now having played the game for 35 hours, I very much like it. It's grown on me as I've played it. I'm warning you about it, since if you decide to pick up this game after watching me play it for a bit, it might be a bit confusing to you, some of the writing which is here. But since, again, I've played this game for quite a few hours, I can choose the correct dialogue choices to show you an example of how this game breaks the fourth wall and addresses you, the player, from time to time. I think you guys will like it. But yes, I think that summarizes everything, everyone. So I'm going to go check on my volume really quick and make sure my voice is coming out okay. And assuming it is, I'll be right back to hit new game. So give me a few seconds. Alright, everyone. Sounds like my voice is coming out okay. Let's go ahead and start us up a new game. This rather chiseled gentleman with that really amazing jaw sleeping in this hammock is our protagonist, to the best of my knowledge. And we get to choose a difficulty setting. Will this game tell me what the settings do? It does not. Okay, I have no clue what these settings do. I found normal to be a decent difficulty setting for me. I think I can safely say that the combat in this game requires the fastest reflexes in these types of blobbers that I have ever had before. Yeah, even more than Legend of Grimrock 2. I've had to do quite a bit of fancy footwork sometimes if I don't want to be struck. Enemies can move rather quickly, and leveling in this game is something that doesn't happen. Well, we'll talk more about character progression when we get into the game, but our hero, to my knowledge, you never earn experience points. You don't get more hit points because there's no leveling that occurs. We are this guy. There's no such thing as a level in our world, and there's nothing in this world either that behaves that way. So it's tricky, and if you get pinned, especially if you're all alone, you don't do that much damage, you're dead very quickly. So I like that very much. Anyway, it's going to be normal difficulty for me. You guys know by now that I'm a fan of average. I like saying average. If a game this is the difficulty we intended the game to be played on, that's the difficulty I always choose. So, normal for us. I'm so happy when I discover a game like this, which unfortunately did not go as mainstream as I feel it deserves, but one that I was lucky enough to get a hold of and play. Something like Cosminator or Mainframe Defenders are other examples of this, and this game fits that really niche, not well known, but I've grown to love it game. So I hope I can do this justice by recording this. So, in the end, you are here. There's a floor that's covered in sand, a ceiling that's orange-like, and a salad bowl turned upside down, which is also very large. So, let's look at the answers that are available here. We can say, what's that? Give me some poetry! I paid big money for this game. Yeah, don't waste time on words, illiteracy or death. I know everything already. Just start this thing. 3 will let you skip this entire introduction and bring you directly to the first dungeon. If you beat the game, I've heard that you can skip the first dungeon altogether. It doesn't make you replay it, and I'm guessing it gives you all the items that were inside of it, minus a few that you might have used to heal yourself. But in any case, it's our first time together, and I have not yet beaten this game. So, and I like reading everything, so let's choose answer number 1. What's that? Give me some poetry. I paid big money for this game. As the first sun, the giving lord, leaves the embrace of the ever-changing hazes on the far horizon, only the gulfs of shadows, cast by the sacred trees, give some shelter from the heat to the people of the desert, and only the glass domes protect them from the colossal winds. Sounds amazing. So it's a sand-blasted hellscape of a planet, or at least this continent on this planet is that way, with people living under these trees for protection from the sun, for the shade, while the glass domes protect them from the winds that would otherwise shear the skin off their bones. Okay, well, maybe too much poetry. Yet, of late, on the branchways of Pantella, suspended on the tall arms of the Kinami tree, and worming between its roots, a vague disquiet walks among the people, and wary eyes look suspiciously at the shadows. That sounds sketchy enough. At the dawn of the harsh master, the second sun, a sleepy city clerk named Cetrani is unceremoniously brought to the house of Cosmeo Smith, the pragmatist of the brown leaves, the ruling council of the city. Second son. Well, it's always too early to meet the council. Ah, the clerk Centrani. Come in, come in. I have little time this morning. Your gardener supervisor sent your name to my attention. And that's a good thing, right? Cosmo Smith waves off the clerk's comment. Yes, yes, I was told you are quite the efficient tree caretaker. But I'm more interested in your loyalty and wits here. What? Who accused me of those? The councilman rolls his eyes. Yes, I'm starting to wonder that myself. Yet, time is of the essence. I'm sending you out on a mission. What? Out! You don't really mean... Centrani gulps uncomfortably. Cosmeo Smith continues. You see, a caravan was sent to the dome of Broomtown with 2 diplomatic attaches to mediate the Treaty of Commerce and Safe Passage. It was due there a month ago. It never arrived. The truce with Brooms is tenuous at best, and Miliqui is not far enough for my taste. The councilman pierces Citrani with his gaze. We need diplomats found. We need the diplomats found, alive or dead, and their documents, with proof that their delay or demise is not our fault. Broomtown, Miliqui, you can't spit all these names on me. What a thankless job is mine. Okay. Broomtown, major export, sweeping brooms. Very useful with all the desert around. Miliqui, actually I don't know. Okay, the thing is, they're just 2 plot devices. So, will I or will I not visit them? No. But whatever kind of city they might be, and wherever fate would toss them on the map, they would have been magnificent, with lots of side quests and adventures. Are you sobbing? Why are you sobbing? Please take me back to the story. Where was I? Oh, yes. Cosmeo Smith continues. Start on the tracks for Broomtown westward. A lone man is more difficult to be spotted, and has more chances to escape nomad raiders if found in a large party. The councilman hesitates gravely, then. I like you, boy. But either you find them, or don't trouble yourself to get back. This is a mission of great importance. No pressure. But first things first, you'll need a desert suit, and a serious rebreather mask, boy. Your normal air filters cannot take you long distances. Only nomads in custom-made suits and masks can stand that desert's hell. So you'll have my equipment. I really don't deserve the honor. Nonsense. This guard here will escort you to the Underroot storage quarters, where you will have to unearth those items from under a pile of other junk we brown leaves have stashed there in the years. The least we can do is make sure you don't face the desert unprepared. Yes, unprepared. When you'll return from the Underroots, this letter of credit will be waiting for you. The same guard will then accompany you to buy provisions for your travel. Then he will see you off to the gates, so don't worry. Wait, Underroots? What are they? Oh, luckily the intro is almost finished. The Underroots are an area under the Konami tree, or any giant tree really, excavated by the mighty rhizomes of these rare miracles. So, I'm going to interrupt really quick to say that this writing here is how I do Dungeons & Dragons sometimes. When my players do something and I wasn't ready, I will specifically tell them, oh no, like guys, I wasn't ready for this. I don't really have anything for this. And this is what I mean with how the writing is. The writing is amazing and also funny. And it breaks the fourth wall as if I'm playing this with someone in front of me, complaining about the amount of work it took to create this video game. And to be quite honest, I believe it's probably a lot of work to make any video game, so I salute you, game developer. I've liked what you put in this game. Easy with the botany, though. The Underroots, either excavated by hand or by roots, are an underground tunnel complex that is used as storage area and sometimes occupied by the derelicts of the Tree Society, who don't have any other place to go. Traded in botany for sociology, I see. We're about to take you back to Centrani, and for the rest of the game, we pretend not to know each other, huh? Huh? That's the brightest thing I've heard you say so far, Dungeon Master. The councilman is undeterred by Centrani's faint protests. There's nothing more to be said. May the tree grant you speed. As Centrani is dragged out by the guard, Cosmio calls for his secretary. Show in my next appointment that Asunder Garter. Damn, this day gets better and better. Well, for me, it's literally the opposite, it seems. The guard escorts a dismayed clerk down through branching stairways to the ground floor of the town, where a wooden gateway to the Underroots stands in the shaded plaza. Come on, clerk. A rebreather mask and an old desert suit are hardly a difficult thing to find. Wait, I think I forgot the water tap running. All the more reason to do this job quickly, then. In you go. The guard motions Centrani to enter. I'll wait here for you to do your bureaucratic job. Well, provided you get back before the sun set. Not smart to walk around at nighttime, this close to the desert. Good luck. Enter the Underroots. Hey, everyone. Alright. I'm going to try to segment this part too, because I'm going to do a little bit of describing of what we see in front of us. So, obviously, this is what we see in front of us. right here. This is text which shows you what's happening. Damage will be displayed here that you take or that you deal to the enemy, as well as descriptions for things that you look at. Your compass is here. It shows what direction you're facing. You can use these to turn yourself, in case for some reason you're playing this on a PC that doesn't have a keyboard. But there you have it. I'll be using the QWE and ASD keys to move around. This is a mini-map of sorts. It shows everything that is immediately around us. We can click on that to bring up the map of the area that we are currently in. The map is fixed to your location. It will kind of zoom center around you. You can right-click and drag the map around, but I've not been able to figure out if there's a way to move the map around otherwise. Once you release the right mouse button, it zips back to you. I mention this only because if you plan on leaving a icon or a note someplace else here, that's not where you currently are, like over in this section, you can't do that on the map. Just a heads up. You can click on icons and drop them on your map for whatever reason you would so desire, and then they will show up on your actual map. But you'll have to move once to have the map refresh itself. You can erase all the icons or notes that you place by doing this. You can also drop notes on the map by using the pencil. To click on a spot, has to be on the map apparently, and then you click entrance, and then you can write stuff down. You can see that it gives you these drawable icons. I wish there was like another 20. But this is perfectly fine. I've been able to use these to great effect. And I'm also very grateful to have a map that allows me to put things on it, since Eye of the Beholder didn't have anything to put on its maps, because it didn't have any maps at all. This is our character. Thing in his primary hand, thing in his offhand. Items are equipped in specific hands. You do not have the option to, say, use an offhand item in your main hand slot. It doesn't work that way. We will see that when we adventure forward. The yellow bar is our hit points. The red bar, or pink bar? Orange? Yellow is our hit points. Orange is our stamina. When we attack, as you can see, we will use stamina up. When we swing at something and we miss it because it's not there, our attack does not go on cooldown. We can swing as many times as we wish, for some reason, if there's nothing in front of us. If we hit a thing, though, the attack goes on cooldown, and we cannot attack until the cooldown expires. This empty bar is for mana. We'll talk about mana later. Left-clicking on your character's face brings up your character's sheet. You can still attack while looking at this. I use hotkeys, by the way, to attack, but you can right-click on your hands to attack instead if you wish. These are all the different slots for very specific pieces of gear. Chest armor, helmet, cloak, necklace, primary, secondary, or I guess right hand, left hand. Everyone is right-handed to my knowledge. Boot slot, ring slot. This is your party equipment overflow. Items that don't fit into your inventory that are gifted to you through quest or dialogue or through special events are put here instead of being dropped on the ground, to my knowledge. Make sure you empty this on occasion. I don't know what happens if this fills up and you get another item. Oh, we're not quite done here yet. Your character's stats are accessed by... Oh, this here is your character's backpack. Items can be placed in here. Some items stack, most do not. Oops, that's not what I'm going to press. Finally, we have our statistics. This shows who we are. Citrani, the male Pentellan citizen. Also, we are the mighty class of clerk. We have no mana class. We'll talk about that when we get access to mana. This shows our current and maximum numbers for those statistics I talked about earlier. Strength, I think, helps you determine how much damage you do, and potentially how accurate you are with melee attacks. Agility affects how accurate you are with ranged attacks, and potentially how much damage you do with them, I think. Intelligence affects spells, how much damage you do with them, and how accurate, I suppose, they are. Don't quote me on the whole accuracy damage thing, but I do know strength is important for melee, agility is important for ranged, intelligence is important for spells. Protection is a flat damage reduction, reducing damage that you take from, I think, physical forms of damage? I believe there is only physical protection as well. Generally, like other games of this sort, don't stand in front of the bad things as they attack you. It is your best way to avoid damage in the game. Accuracy, concentration, and sovereign. This is our chance to hit with ranged attacks, our chance, I think, to do damage, or the amount of damage we do maybe with magic, and sovereign is melee. Any negative effects we have will be listed here in statuses, or positive effects perhaps. Alright, well, let's get going, everyone. And as we're walking around, I'm going to have to try to explain how a few more things work. Oh, really quick, actually, before we get going. Notice that the map here shows, like, kind of what's immediately around me, like, immediately around me. Like, here I am facing this wall, and it's not on the map yet. I think that's because of how the game refreshes the map. It refreshes after I take an action, not before. So that's, or not just as it doesn't draw the map before I move into the spot. It would draw it after I move. But after I moved in, this is not refreshed. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. All right, now we're finally ready to start the game. Welcome to Aeon of the Sands, the Underroots. I knew I should have remained in bed this morning. Yeah, I agree, Citrani. Or do I agree? You may find you're luckier than most. You see a bunk. So someone was sleeping just inside the Underroots. Probably the best location, assuming you wanted to get out, up into the city itself of Pentella. I suppose, as I said, I was going to look at things. Let's look at our worker tunic. I can middle click to look at it. The most disturbing industriousness washes over you just by looking at the rough fabric. So mass-produced. And the pair of slippers? Comfy dress, classic look. Perfect to keep your feet burn-free. The wall here should have something to open that door. Now, what was it? You can see I have autosave turned on. Every so often the game will automatically save for me. A simple wooden door. Right-clicking on something, if there's anything to actually be examined, will tell you about that thing. This is the lever we pull to open that door. The game is very forgiving with where the cursor needs to be to interact with an item of this sort. As you can see, my cursor is nowhere near it, but it'll still count as pulling it. If you decide to play this game and begin looking for secret buttons and stuff like that, having your cursor generally in the center of the screen, and what I tend to do is something like this, just so I notice that the cursor changes to the figure icon, is a good way to find them. You guys also know by now that I like shutting doors behind me, so I'm going to continue with that throughout this game series. Left or right? I like the way that the roots are all entangled in each other here. I'm guessing people must come down here occasionally to keep the roots cleared, to stop them from filling up these areas and creating like walls down here. A torn curtain. Nothing on these walls. And hello, what is this? A tiny dagger. A tiny dagger. Often used as a cheese cutter. Oh, man. So it's about the size of the spoon I have right here in my hand. So more like a scalpel than a slicer. We can see the damage that this weapon does. It does 0.8 DPS. It does 1 through 2 points of damage. It's giving us a -1 to our agility, and it takes 2 stamina for us to swing it. If it hits an enemy, it goes on cooldown for 2 seconds. We hear another door open. Remember that we don't know where that suit is down here, or the rebreather mask, and apparently neither do they. Hopefully it's somewhere really close so that we can get... Well, maybe we don't want that suit being really close. And what's this? See? That's what happens when the Public Works Department is held by incompetent buffoons. I think that's a dead body. It is. Like in Grimrock and in Eye of the Beholder, items that you find are not like, you don't search a corpse to find them. They'll be on the ground, and you can pick them up and then drag them into your inventory. That's interesting that they put a handle on this side of the door. I suppose... Oh, I should show you this as well, everyone. You can dash through doors in this game. Yep. Only game of this sort where that's been possible. I like the mechanic, though I don't think I've had to utilize it yet, but you can do so. Hello. A small niche in the wall. Water skin. Restores 5 hit points and 5 stamina when you drink it. 2 charges in it. The single most precious substance in all the land. Non-sparkling water. And there aren't frogs in it. Sounds amazing. We'll keep it in our offhand because that's the only spot we can put it. You can use items from your inventory by right-clicking on them here as well. Technically, since it's only me here, I should actually play the game like this at this moment. Right-clicking on items as I need them, and using the hotkeys to attack things from this screen. But I'll stick with this at least for this first dungeon. A collapsed tunnel. Only useless historical records were in that wing, if I recall. Good thing we won't be learning more about the world from here then. I just like practicing. I like to imagine Citrani, despite being rather lazy, it can be quite quick on his feet when he needs to be. And he's going to need to be very soon. In games like this, I tend to take my time when walking through the dungeon, especially if we're not on like a time limit while we're in here. Now, we might be. Again, I haven't beaten the game. I don't understand. I know there's some time mechanic in the game, but I don't understand it too well. And I might also be incorrect about that. It might only be certain areas that are under some type of time constraint. But I haven't been in one of these dungeons yet. Hello? Anybody home? The door was open. Oh. More dead bodies. You see a bundle of paracanthi leaves? Sticky paracanthi leaves, much sought by the youngsters who collect them from the spiky bushes on the predators-infested outskirts of the Kanami tree. That's called hardcore bush diving. Indeed it is. I guess this is like... what's the type of... I can't think of the plant now. Well, they actually do look like... Well... No, I was going to say yucca plants? Yucca? I think they're called yucca, but they might be yucca. I used to have some of those outside my house, actually. A piece of flint. Whoever chipped this stone got a bad case of saber-tooth and couldn't finish his work. 0.7 DPS. But this adds +1 agility to you, as opposed to -1 agility from the tiny dagger. But it is used in the same slot. So we get +1 agility, but lose a bit of damage. I'm going to stick with the dagger at this point. It costs more stamina and has slightly longer cooldown, and has the same damage. So generally, we don't really want to use this unless we must use it. Now, a heads up that, to my knowledge, some items can be used in other ways besides just combat if you possess them in your inventory. I think I ended up dropping the piece of flint in every single campaign, every single attempt I've had at playing this game so far. This time, I'm going to hold on to it to the end of the game, in the hopes that it has some special purpose at the very end of it. Note to self, when in doubt, flee. Our first enemy, everyone! A rat! As you can see, when we strike it, our weapon goes on cooldown, and enemies in this game will pause to get into their attack animation before they attack you. As you can see, they attack very quickly. Now, as you attack with your weapons, there is a chance that you will increase the stat associated with that weapon. I think the... Oh, I don't know. So I'll describe it the way I think how it works, everyone. As our stats improve, we will eventually notice that, like, our tiny dagger, instead of doing 1 through 2 damage, will do 2 damage. Just 2 through 2. So I know these stats improve the damage that you do with certain spells or weapons. I'm sorry, not those stats. These stats down here. If you want to do more damage with melee weapons, use the melee weapons. Also, your health regenerates over time. I suppose I should phrase it that your mana does as well, but mana doesn't work the way in this game that it does in other games. We'll talk more about mana when we're finally able to cast spells. I don't really want to get pinned. Yep, another rat around. Let me see if I can show you something about these creatures. As you can see, they're very quick. When a creature goes into its attack stance, I think if you hit it, you will interrupt the creature, and it will be delayed. If you have multiple companions, I think you might be able to stagger your attacks to literally keep the creature staggered as well. and prevent it from attacking if you end up forced into a corner. Let's keep going this way to start, I think. I hear another rat around. Oh god, that scared the heck out of me. Let's see if I can show you the interruption. Yep, it's very brief for the rat. Whew! Good work, Citrani. And I can't... The rat's the size of like a medium-sized dog? It looks like it would reach my knees. Curtains. You could walk right through curtains. The rat infestation explains why the squatters have retired from this section of Underroots. Anything on the corpse? No. Oh, poor guy. I guess this had been his home, and the rats showed up and pinned him in here, and he was killed. They're brave enough to attack us, and even with us, a single rat is brave enough to attack us. That tells us that they're hungry or territorial. I heard in the common room that a citizen went crazy and almost killed somebody. Never caught. The Underroots are vast, after all. Why would you? I really hope not to stumble into him. Man, why would you talk about stuff like that? Or think stuff like that when you're venturing down here, Citrani? I heard the rat very... Oh, yes! Certain creatures also stack. So we would have to deal with 2 rats. And as you saw, they do decent amounts of damage. We got hit for 3 damage one time. We're gonna kill all the rats, so I don't have to worry about them pinning me. I don't see anything over here. I guess we'll talk a little bit more about the world briefly from what we had read about earlier. Oh, what is this? Don't get up on my account. What the heck? This skeleton is more dead than most of them. Wow. That's creepy. Buried in the rock? There must have been a cave in here at some point when they were digging out this section of the Underroots, and they just left the guy in there to die. Or actually, he was probably crushed, right? Is what would have happened to him. And they couldn't pull him out. God, that must be gruesome. What do you do? I guess, yeah, you just leave him there. And you let his skin rot off. Oh, that's just nightmarish. How absolutely horrible. Oh, man. I never thought of that before. What an awful way to die. You see a hole in the ceiling. It looks like someone just dumped a body down here from the ceiling. So there's more murders happening up there in Pentella. I suppose wherever you would find humanity, you would find people taking advantage of others. See you, little rat. Let's fight. Quick. I can tap buttons faster than you can, little rat. Another water skin. I will say at this moment as well that although it would seem like you need water and food to survive in the desert, when we will eventually be going out, as you saw actually or heard from Cosmeo Smith, we will eventually be sent outside after we find the equipment that we need. But we do not need to eat or drink. This is basically a weak healing potion. I've never been this way. I believe there was a reason for that. Time to be a little brave, Citrani. We gotta find that effectively a still suit. It's not there. For a moment I thought I saw something on this wall. I hear 2 rats. I see 2 rats. Some weapons that you get in this game sweep, and you'll be able to attack multiple enemies with just a single swing of the weapon or use of it. So far, spells and melee weapons do that. I have not found a ranged weapon that does so. Although it seems like there should be one, since I have found ammo for it, but I didn't find the actual weapon. I'm hoping we can find it together in this playthrough. Crates, boxes, and jars of goods. Patelin goods, as the sign on them testifies. This would hint that there's other trees out here. A rusty shank. The rusty shank is used in our offhand and gives us a chance to add a little more damage. 2 rats dead. Rusty shank picked up. Was a good day. The vines on this wall have a very interesting pattern. The game's initial hints that there are secret buttons in it. I hear something that doesn't sound like a rat. Let's leave this open. A mushroom. Oh, God! Uh-oh. But I don't like having my back exposed to an empty hallway, because it might not be empty for long. Okay, thankfully we weren't pinned there. Let's see where this rat came from. A dress made of rags. -1 agility, but +2 prot. The favorite threads of prophets and toddlers, luxurious supplied of a set of highly nourishing live ticks. With the description of like that, why would I ever put it on? So there's no reason why I don't like you should, but I never have, and in this video I'm not gonna either. That just sounds so disgusting, or rather so that's not filthy, that's the wrong word, because they're ticks, right? Ticks don't live in filth. They live where people or creatures walk that have blood in them, so they can feed on it. At least it didn't say fleas, or I would have already been infected probably with the things. Okay. Woo, wow, Tim, that was lucky that you moved back when you did. Woo! Citrani breaks his rusty shank. Rusty items, weapons that you find, will shatter upon coming off of cooldown at some point. Rusty items, I tend to have only found them in this starting dungeon. Items will be a little more reliable once you're out of the starting dungeon. The skeleton is more dead than most of them. Wow, so multiple people died down here helping build this place. Oh. I've heard that like large construction projects often have people die on them. Like I imagine like building some of the skyscrapers, several people probably died. Oh my, what a cool, surely friendly snake. Let's touch it. Citrani receives 2 damage. Definitely dead. Nothing else here. I imagine that some of the humor here comes from Citrani and represents his outlook on life, as it were. He uses snark and humor to keep himself sane. At the very least, keep himself a little more courageous being down here with nothing but like a table knife. No touching. We'll touch all the snakes at least once. They all deserve to be petted. A rock. Rocky, hard material. The very land generated it and raised it to perfection throughout the aeons for the purpose of smashing it in the middle of an opponent's face. Nice. Offhand item. Does 3 damage by stone, and it stuns the enemy for they can't move for 0.1 seconds. Melee weapon, ranged weapon. Stones are one of the few items in this game that will stack as well. I think they stack up to either 16? 14 or 16. I can't remember how many on top of my head. Stones do not have any cooldown when thrown. You just lose the thrown item. The cost of throwing them is that you have to go and pick them up again, and there's a stamina cost with them. But if you have a lot of stones, you can hurl all your stones at an enemy and try to take it down by windmilling your arms around. I will not do that. I'm going to be using stones for pressure plates for the most part. Oh, he's hostile. I guess we can let him swing at us once so you guys can see what that looks like. But I'm not really too interested in trying to just exchange blows with him. Let's let him hit us once here. That is a great looking stab. That looks great. I like the reach that the enemies use when they attack you. Like, it feels like they're in your face with their attacks. Do we hunt him down, or do we let him live? Unlike most of the other games we have played, enemies will run if they're severely hurt and try to get away from you. Other mushrooms. Mushrooms do not stack. Let's look at this. This looks like the ones grown on a guy I knew. It's surely edible. That's disgusting. Some poor guy had mushrooms growing on him? A small niche in the wall. A bunk. Some supplies. Oh, this guy had a really nice get up down here. If you could actually stand to live down here. Hello, snake. I'm gonna pet all the snakes. Step on snack. What do we have here? Some serious magic. Casting spells in this game, everyone. To cast a spell in this game, you need what I'm going to call, oh darn it, I had a good name for it, and now I don't know what to call it. But you need some sort of device to channel the spells through. You just can't cast them willy-nilly. You don't have a spell book that you memorize spells from. It's effectively like a wand that casts very particular spells. In this case, this is scum. Still scum. So, it's congealed? Is that a word? I hope so. I'm using it. Into this solid form of like moldy water. And it has two attacks with it. Glass splinters and glass shards. They have a stamina cost and a mana cost, and also go on cooldown. Let's go ahead and try casting something, shall we? And we can't. We can't cast anything with this because we haven't attuned ourselves to magic yet. There are, I'm going to say 4, but for the vast majority of the characters in this world, 3 types of magic. Elemental magic, fire, electricity, or air, and water. I guess technically water is sometimes glass as well, and fire can sometimes use like earth attacks as well when you find a reagent or an item that lets you channel magic through it. You have to attune yourself to the type of magic that you wish to cast. So to do that, you must consume an item that grants you that type of mana, or rather, that purges your system of that type of mana. So, we're going to go ahead and right-click on a red mushroom. The red mushrooms cost us 3 hit points, but we gain minus 12 mana. And now you can see that we have a little blue meter here. It's currently at 0 of 30. That is our mana corruption, or contamination, as it were. We can cast spells as much as we like in this game world. We can cast these spells over and over and over again. But the moment that this level goes over 30, we will begin taking damage I think it's proportional to the amount of mana that the spell would cost you. To get rid of the contamination, you either wait, and your levels will be reduced. I think it happens in an equal amount as to how rapidly you heal hit points. I might be a little wrong there, though. But it does, you will slowly lose this corruption level over time. Or, of course, you use items. So don't think, so this is like a reverse mana potion. You have an unlimited amount of mana, but by using more of it, you begin to fill your mana meter. And once that overflows, you take damage. There we go. We just cast a spell. We took a little bit of magic damage, and we gained a little bit of concentration. And he's dead. If he hadn't tried to attack me again, I would have let him live. He just walked away. Map. We're missing the door up here. Let's double back for that door. Although this isn't on a list of things for him to find, I'm pretty sure that Centrani's very happy to have something that lets him cast magic. The Underroots, among other things, the place where the destitute live, if you can call this living. The people that the city failed squat here. Also some old rovers, the ones that survived the desert at any rate. I guess eventually people want to put down roots. I didn't even mean that to be the pun it turned it out to be. God, I'm good, right? You guys love this crap. I admit it. I live a life of privilege. Well, until now. Rusty Pipe. Rusty Pipe does 2 through 9 damage. Slightly better than our 1 through 2. But it is rusty, so it's going to break eventually. Judging from the clerk's description, and what we saw him doing earlier, he has indeed lived a rather cozy life. Taking naps, not having to worry too much about what's going on in the world. But now he's been thrust into the thick of it. Nothing of interest here. The warehouse is happily rotting away. Must be moist down here then, I'm guessing. Or humid? Looks like we found a group of people down here. I guess the city under the city. Sweet fruit. A juicy and sweet morsel of happiness. Only a tiny bit turned. And with a few insect bites. Ugh. Recovers lost hit points and stamina. Gives dizziness. We'll have to check our negative effects when we eat one of those next time. This is the lowest rent one can get, I guess. The Disenfranchised of Pentella. A reminder not to piss off the brown leaves. You are not allowed to go into that group, to that settlement there. Cozy, I suppose. A tattered tunic. This was once the Sunday cloth of a proud dirt farmer. It is consumed by use on account of every day being a Sunday. So, it's got 1 prot, but we lose 2 mana and 1 stamina. And honestly, I just don't like the way that's described. So I don't care about the prot. I'll just try my best not to stand in front of something. You'll note that I will move very quickly when I'm not venturing into new places. And everyone, our very first pressure plate. Well, the rusty pipe's gonna break. Might as well put it here at the moment to keep that depressed. I feel like that probably does something. Let's leave a rock on it. If I take this off, does anything weird happen? Huh. Let's look at the map really quick. There's an area over here we didn't explore. Behind the cloth curtain. Nothing on that wall. Another dead body. Lots of people died down here. Ugh. And another rock. But that seems to be it. I guess we don't need to put anything on this pressure plate. That seems a little weird. But I don't. Alright then. Well, that will just stay unset. Down. Always down. Oh, this got really dark really quick. I hear more rats down here. We've also been playing for almost an hour, everyone, so we're probably going to stop soon. This looks tidy. I always say the Public Works Department is very professional. I see 2, 3 levers in this room. So, I have a system that I use to mark levers, buttons, and other things of import, which you're going to see me use often. I'll describe it really quick. Levers get a teleporter symbol on the wall, and then I indicate which wall that's on by leaving behind these symbols. And they show up on the map to help remind me as to where the levers are. Before we pull levers, let's investigate this hallway. I feel confident already. Do you? Do you, Citrani? I don't think I do. Well, nothing there. Oh, that's where we came from. More underroots. But nobody can live this far down below the tree. The air is too damp. I guess that means we won't see very many dead bodies down here. Except for people maybe... Oh, well, just as I say that, dead body up ahead. Some small rats around. Oh, uh-oh. They're stacked. Glass shards there. Or rather, what was that spell? Yep, glass shards. Attacks twice. And affects everything in the square in front of us. Costs more mana than the glass splinters. And only has the range in front of us. Doesn't fly 4 spaces down a passage. You'll see me using that a lot, though, given how much damage it does. I'll say this as well about the game, at the risk of spoiling some stuff. The game will give you plenty of consumables. Do not feel like you must save them. You will get so many items in this game, ways to recover your mana and hit points. If you're a pack rat, like I often am, you will find it difficult to leave things on the ground. But leave things on the ground or use them. Don't feel obligated to take everything with you. A stone bag. A stone bag with small stones. You need a sling to use them. An amber ring. It makes me feel like an important person just by sporting it on my pinky. +1 agility. Can't hurt to wear it. Not this item, at least. There's a tree, if you can call it that. Withered, twisted and torn. Like in agony. Trees of sort. Dead in a horrible scream. The thicket here is impenetrable. And you can't break down anything to my knowledge. A sling. I suppose this marks a tremendous step forward from simple lever propulsion into stone-throwing technology. Okay, we have a sling and a stone bag. And the sling actually gives us also +1 agility for just equipping it. But right now, the rats we're fighting are rather easily killed, and we did find this still scum, so I don't think we'll need the sling quite yet. Okay, well, that's all that's accessible to us before we have to start pulling levers, so let's do that. Room next to us opened up. Uh-oh. The place down there also opened up. 2 doors opened on this side. In fact, this place makes for a piss-poor depot, too. Once you combine items, the only way to uncombine them, to my knowledge, is to actually throw them. That sucked. We took right. If you throw something against a wall and you're right next to the wall, you will take a little bit of damage. Let's leave you there. Rusty shank. I guess the rusty. No, we can leave the stone here. Once again, rusty items break, so I'm not as interested in using the rusty shank as if it hadn't been rusted. Look at the size of that rat. That's as big as us. And a piece of raw meat. What does this do? Additional nutritious food in that there are probably flies' eggs in it. Or additional tiny maggots. So gross, game. So, enemies do have random drops. Most of that won't be... most of it, I'm sorry, will come in the form of consumables of some sort. The rats down here are huge. I completely agree with you, Citrani. I wouldn't know what to do if I had to fight a rat the size of me. I guess... Well, I guess I would take out my still scum and cast a water spell at it, is what I would do. Another water skin. We'll take that. So... there was a platform here. We put something on it. We have 2 more levers. Let's pull them as well. And that opened this passage. I guess that under the dome, there wasn't any space for long-term storage areas. I'm guessing there must be areas under the dome, like above ground, that always have shade as well. This 2 suns would make it seem to me that it would be tricky to, like, it would shift where the shade is at certain times of the day or year. Make it very tricky to actually enjoy it at all times. Like, structures would eventually be struck by the sun, or suns. We hear the giant rat. Good job, Citrani. I hear another giant rat somewhere. More boxes and crates, but nothing else here. More boxes and crates, but nothing else there. Oh, wow. Another giant rat. We can bring it back to that dead area if I don't want to use more mana. But we're practically restored right now. Oh, God, that was 9 damage! Let's eat the piece of raw meat. Did we get any side effects? Not right away, at least. Yep, just about a third of his hit points he lost from that single hit. Once again, you take big damage when you take hits. This is getting too dangerous. I have to hurry out of here. That's kind of thematic then, that we just got a big hit. I think I should touch it again. There you go. All snakes get petted. What is it? Gotta boop them in the snoot? Is that what that is? I'm very brave, but I don't need to fight everything that breathes to prove it. Unfortunately, Satrani, you do. I don't like hearing more rats. I don't like seeing how big they are, and I don't like knowing there's these giant open doorways here. That's 2 of them. There are 2 giant rats. I didn't time that correctly because I only got 1 of them with that. I'm gonna eat. Oh, there's another giant rat coming. I want them to get me together. There we go. Whew. More raw meat. Looks like intestines to me. That's so nasty. Let's eat it. Delicious. I'm not sure, but that looks dead. 2 levers. In a small alcove. Time is paused while you're looking at the map, to my knowledge, by the way, everyone. The skeleton is more dead than most of them. Aren't all skeletons basically dead? Our first, throw the thing on the pressure plate. This is a classic. There we go. You can also fall down the pit and see where it takes you, but I know it's down there, and I don't want to fall down that pit right away. Hello, giant rat. We could handle it, but it would be an awkward spot to fall into. This is a different type of rat. This is a deep purple rat. I like it. You know we're fighting harder level creatures because they're different colored. Reminds me of all the different monsters in like Diablo 2. I'm getting a little nervous. We're being forced all the way back to where we entered this area from. But I think we can probably kill this with our tiny dagger. It's gotta be almost dead. You guys ever do that? Like, you've been hammering on something in a game like this. You don't quite know what its hit points are, but you've been doing it for long enough, and you begin thinking, like, it's gotta be almost dead by now, and you don't want to switch to a more efficient item, because it's gotta be almost dead by now. You've been hitting it for, like, the past 5 minutes. Can't possibly have like, another, like, 50 more minutes worth of effort to go into killing the thing. Stairs that go down again. Well, we're not gonna go down there quite yet. Hello? Bandages. And more raw meat. Mummy in a roll. Patent pending. The best friend of any adventurer. Heals 4 hit points and 6 stamina. I'm guessing, based on where that meat is, that's human flesh. I'm gonna leave that meat there. I don't care if I need the healing later on. I'm not eating that. Definitely dead. Another water skin. Lots of water kept down here. Since we are going out in the desert, it makes a lot of sense that Satrani would pack or want to bring so much water with him. Well, let's continue to explore this tunnel. See where it takes us. And we won't, well, we'll call it quits, everyone, once we're done exploring this floor. It's about another maybe 5 minutes. Oh, something else about this game I like, in case you guys can see it from here. I've always liked games where the secrets that you can find are visible when you're not directly in front of the wall that has them. In this case, we can see the button that's right there. Snake, I love you. It's in my nature to pet you, but it's in your nature to bite me. Hello, button. Now, secret buttons What I normally do for secret buttons is I'll, instead of the teleport symbol, I'll put the platform symbol and then mark where I found it. I'm just mentioning this to you because you will see me do this occasionally as I play this game. More underroots. Nobody can live down this far below the tree. The air is too damp. I hear the door open. Let's leave the plants there. Keep it open. Lots of people died down here. Rusty hatchet. Rusty, which means that it will break when we use it. A bundle of parachanthi leaves. Nothing else in the niche. There's got to be a secret here somewhere to open that. A lever, a button, and a lever. Sounds like it's resetting one of the levers to me. Looks like a dangerous serpent. Or is it an innocuous one? Dangerous! Dangerous. Pile of rust. Removes 12 mana if you were using elemental water. A basic reagent to play with water mostly. Alright everyone, and that ends it for the first video. Hope you guys liked it. When we come back, we will wrap up the Underroots, and we'll probably make our way back to Cosmeo Smith and get paid for being down here. Pick up a few more supplies from the market, and then head out into the desert. So, see you guys then. Thanks for watching everyone, and take care.